Now, what on earth would compel any self-respecting smartphone fan to pay £400 for a 4.7-inch 720p screen Snapdragon 410 powered phone in late 2015? This. This is the best music phone in the history of the industry, potentially. A dedicated Wolfson sound card, twin headphone jacks, analogish volume control, and some of the loudest and definitely most high quality stereo front-facing phone speakers I've ever heard. Of course, that may not matter much to you. Not everyone's a music lover or needs loudspeakers, plus both quality and volume are quite good enough on most smartphones these days. But if the demonstration just now grabs you, the fact that you can play back lossless FLAC files and with everything at higher quality, the presence of stereo high amplitude microphones, Nokia style for music recording, then maybe the Marshall London is worth seeking out anyway. After all, the London is still a capable Android smartphone thanks to 2 GB of RAM and 16 gig plus micro SD. Think Moto G 3rd generation, which I reviewed a couple of phone shows ago, though that was in the order of £200, which means you're paying an extra £200 for all the audio goodies, of which more later. Though, as with the iPhone, there's a kind of a heavy branding premium here. Now, I'm a Marshall fan, having played guitar through a big Marshall amp for years. Let's see Shed Music online. So the grippy black rubberized plastic fits in perfectly with the theme. Plus there's the brass detailing on the controls and jacks and the Marshall logo to top it all off. There's even a suitable slogan scrawled on the replaceable 2500 mAh battery. Plus you also get Marshall mode in-ear headphones included, so that's £50 back from the purchase price effectively. The twin headphone sockets are an interesting, unique selling point, though I'm really not sure how many people would use them outside of perhaps a studio, a music business setting. The volume control does work across both jacks by default, but you can tweak individual volumes from the supplied M button volume interface, all accessed via the brass button on the top of the phone. The software, as on the Moto G, is essentially stock Android plus some extras. One of these is the aforementioned system audio controller. Plus there's also Equalizer Plus to handle all your music by default. You can crank up Google Play Music manually, but this doesn't integrate as well. In fact, the phone lets you play from Google Play Music and from Equalizer Plus at the same time, which sounds horrible. Oops. In terms of recording software, there's a basic but high quality gadget accessed by the Marshall controller game, which batches up snippets of your ideas and then you save as required, potentially very useful for musos on the move to record their ideas. LoopStack is a 4-channel recorder that allows you to layer a set number of measures of ideas and then see how they sound together, but the app is a bit quirky in the extreme. Ted and I had all sorts of problems trying to get it to work reliably. Both the Marshall recording gadget and LoopStack do offer high quality 16-bit 44 kilohertz recording and processing though, which is good to see. In my test, the high amplitude, the loud stuff, didn't distort at all, though I did find a few glitches in the process which required a restart. I'm sure Marshall are still working through some of the bugs. Elsewhere, there are no real surprises or other unique selling points. An 8 megapixel rear camera is distinctly average. Here are a few samples, plus there's 1080p video recording. One nice touch is that you can press in the volume scroll wheel to launch the camera app from anywhere, including with the screen off. There's also double tap to wake, though as usual with many Android phones these days, from a deep sleep this just doesn't work first time, so you have to repeat the gesture. As with the Moto G 3rd gen, with which this shares quite a few specs, the Snapdragon 410 chipset inside is fussy about SD card support, and you'll almost certainly have to reformat your cards in the phone itself, which is a real pain. However, as a music-focused, audio-centric smartphone, the Marshall London is clearly out on its own and is reasonably sized, if not reasonably priced. A true phone-sized phone, clearly. The 720p resolution matches a 4.7-inch display, even if none of the computing internals are anywhere near top spec. The London is an absolute pleasure to hold and use, thanks to the finish and the size and the branding and everything. But in terms of raw value for money, then questions do have to be asked, if I'm honest. The speakers, the sound card and so on are perhaps worth a £100 premium, if I'm being generous, but That still leaves another £100 for the Marshall brand name and for the kudos you may or may not get from your peers as you're seen using this. It's Apple and the iPhone all over again, only this time in gig-ready black, rubberized plastic rather than white and aluminium. I'm not sure, therefore, that I can give the Marshall London a wholehearted recommendation, at least in terms of value. However, the Phone Show Chat podcast, Ted, has fallen in love with his.
It's true, I have.
Is it? Check out Ted's thoughts each week on the show. In the meantime, I'll play you out with the Marshall London doing what it does best. Fade out to black. Crank it up to 11.